Hello children. In our previous lectures, we were dealing about molecular scissors. We were talking about nucleases enzymes, which have two categories, endonuclease and exonuclease, and they are responsible for the cutting of the DNA, the genetic material, so that the recombinant technology can move ahead. Like we can attach our desired DNA into the plasmid's DNA, so that the further transfer of the gene can take place. So the requirements for the biotechnology process, we have gone through that also, that we require restriction enzyme, we require polymerase enzyme, we require ligases enzyme, we require a kind of a host which will help in the gene multiplication. So now we start working with the first requirement of the recombinant technology, that is the restriction enzyme. Two types of it, endonuclease and exonuclease, but how do they function? So in this session we understand how this molecular scissors actually act as scissors, how they cut the DNA. For this I will just focus one diagram. You can have a look at it. Now in this particular diagram, red color, wherever that double helical structure is shown, is the vector DNA, and black color is wherever that helical structure is shown is the foreign DNA. Now vector DNA means here we are talking about the plasmid. So plasmid DNA, how it is cut, and then how the foreign DNA means the DNA which is carrying the gene of our interest is cut. Now this is very very important, that with the restriction enzyme which we are choosing to cut the vector DNA, the same restriction enzyme has to be used to cut the gene of the interest. Here we are taking an example of ECO R1, that is E. coli R1. E. coli R1, this is the restriction enzyme which we are taking it for the example. Now in this case, whenever a restriction enzyme has to cut the DNA, the first thing which the restriction enzyme has to do is to go through the whole of the genetic material, to go through the whole of the DNA sequence and find out the recognition site. Each restriction enzyme has its own specific recognition site, and that site is called as palindromic sequence. What is palindromic sequence? Palindromic sequence means it is like we know that DNA is double helical structure. So if it is having a particular series of nitrogenous bases at the top, just opposite to that complementary should be present. That means, like you can see in the diagram here, GAATTC. It is if the DNA strand is at 3-5- end, the nitrogenous bases will be GAATTC. The opposite of it will also be GAATTC. That is if it is like the second one, the second orientation will be 5-3- end. So palindromic sequence means a kind of a sequence which can be read same if it is moved from left to right or right to left. Something like you can have an example of Malayalam. Now Malayalam is a word which can be read same way even if you read it from left to right or right to left. So such sequences we call it as palindromic sequences. So the restriction enzyme in the whole of the DNA will search that palindromic sequence, like in this case which is projected in front of you, that ECOR1 or ECOR1, yes, that is going to first find out this GAATTC, which is the recognition sequence for the ECOR1. Once it gets that sequence on the DNA, what it is going to do, it is going to cut that DNA little bit away from the center. Like it is GAATTC, so AT will be the center. It's not going to cut the DNA between A and T. It's going to cut the DNA between G and A, little bit away from the middle part of the palindromic sequence, the recognition sequence. Similarly, on the second strand also, it's going to cut between G. Here it's going to cut between G and A. Here also it's going to cut between G and A. Like in this case of in the diagram you can see, the upper one also it is cutting between G and A, and below also it is cutting between G and A. So what it is doing, it is going to cut the phosphodiester bond at the same place on both the strands of the DNA, little bit away from the center of the recognition sequence. Here EcoR1, what is the recognition sequence? It is GAATTC, and it is not going to cut between A and T, which is the center part of the palindromic sequence. It's going to move little bit away from it, and between whichever two nitrogenous bases it's going to cut, like this in the diagram it is showing, it is cutting between G and A in the first strand. Similarly, it is going to cut in the second strand between G and A. Now, once it is being cut, look, come down to the second diagram which is being shown. Once the DNA is being cut, both the strands are going to be separated out. So, lower end will be remaining, lower strand will be remaining with only TTAA because G has been taken out. Upper strand, you can see down where the diagram it is written, this segment is cut. So, that is the upper segment which is removed. Now, in this case, now what is happening? TTAA, the upper segment, the attachment of the complementary bases now they are gone. So, they are open. Now, they are ready to attach. The ends are, there is no complementary bases now. So, those ends are open ends. Now, they are ready to attach with any other complementary base pairs which are coming. So, such ends we call them as sticky ends. Similarly, this EcoR1 will be acting on the foreign DNA also. Look in the diagram. In the foreign DNA also, it's going to read the whole DNA first, find out its own recognition sequence. Once it gets its recognition sequence, so EcoR1, the recognition sequence is GAATTC. So wherever it is going to get this GAATTC, it is going to stop there. Then what it is going to do? It is going to cut the phosphodiester bond between G and A in one strand, and another one is also G and A. The same process it is going to follow in case of the foreign DNA also. So same thing will happen with the foreign DNA. You can look into the second diagram which is denoted here by the black double-stranded structure. So from the top, once it is taken out, so on the at the top portion AATT remains. Below portion is taken out, it is separated out. Now here also sticky ends are created. If you see it very carefully, this AATT which is shown in the second diagram, black one, is complementary base pair to TTAA of the vector DNA. So naturally come down to the third part, where this sticky end of the foreign DNA is going to go and attach to the vector DNA, and finally you can see the third diagram where the recombinant DNA has been formed. So black one is the gene of our interest, and red one is the vector DNA which is going to carry our gene of interest. So this is the first process of the biotechnology, that first the cutting has to happen with the same restriction enzyme or in the vector also and in the foreign DNA also, and then they are sticked together to form a recombinant DNA. Now this vector is ready to go inside a host for further gene multiplication. Palindromic sequence or the recognition sequence is must for the restriction enzyme, and every restriction enzyme has its own recognition sequence. There is no one recognition sequence for 2 or 3 restriction enzyme. Every restriction enzyme has its own recognition sequence. So in a DNA, whenever we are using a restriction enzyme, it is going to cut the DNA at its own palindromic sequence only. So if it is repeated 2 times, 3 times, fine. One restriction enzyme can cut the DNA into 2 or 3 fragments, but it will only cut at its own recognition sequence. At this stage, let us have a look at a video also.
Restriction endonucleases are enzymes that cleave DNA at specific nucleotide sequences. The sequence recognized is often 4 to 6 nucleotides long. For example, the restriction endonuclease EcoR1 recognizes the sequence GAATTC. The nucleotides at one end of the recognition sequence are often complementary to those at the other end. The 2 strands of the DNA DNA duplex have the same nucleotide sequence running in opposite directions for the length of the recognition sequence. Because the same recognition sequence occurs in both strands of the DNA duplex, the restriction endonuclease can bind to and cleave both strands of the DNA molecule. Because the bond cleaved is typically not positioned in the center of the recognition sequence, and the DNA strands are antiparallel, the cut sites are offset from each other. After cleavage, each DNA fragment has a single-stranded end a few nucleotides long, and the single-stranded ends of the two fragments are complementary to each other. These single-stranded ends can pair with each other, sticky ends. Once their ends have paired, the two fragments can be joined together with the enzyme DNA ligase, which reforms the phosphodiester bonds of DNA. What makes restriction endonucleases so valuable is that any two fragments of DNA produced by the same restriction endonuclease can be joined together. Restriction endonucleases are fundamental tools in genetic engineering.